Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. I'm Matt Atchity, that's Christy Lemire, that's Alonso, Duralde. We're talking about the box office this weekend. Much to our chagrin, a lot of people went and saw Ready Player One, which we kind of all hated.
I didn't hate it. I'm just super mixed
I did.
on it.
I liked it. I even liked it, I think, a scooch more than y'all. Like you gave it a 4 and I gave it a 4.5. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm on the same page. But you know, look, people are going to go see what they're going to go see.
And as we pointed out, we are the target audience for this.
Right, it did.
We are not haters.
$53 million for the long weekend, for Easter weekend. That includes Thursday and Friday because Friday people had off because it was Good Friday.
And it opened Thursday.
Right. So $53 million, 41 just for the 3-day weekend. That's Spielberg's largest box office opening in something like 10 years.
Since Crystal Skull, apparently,
yeah.
Which is exactly 10 years.
But I mean, it's like, you know, I'm just looking at what he's been doing over that last decade. It's like, you know, you're not going to get numbers like that for his more sort of like middle brow adult audience movies like Lincoln or Bridge of Spies.
For his real movies.
Well,
and BFG wasn't a big hit.
BFG was financially a misfire. I liked it actually. You know, Tintin was a shot at doing a thing that I wasn't crazy about, but it was unusual, it was different, you know. But yeah, this one seemed very squarely like mass appeal, you know, 4-quadrant Spielberg.
Yeah, but the thing is, it cost a lot of money to make. It cost like $175 million to make just production-wise. That's not even the marketing. As we know, we did a whole segment about it. There was a massive amount of marketing and all those, you know, parody posters of 80s movies. So yeah, I mean, it made also like 181 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Thanks, China. Yeah, China.
Yeah, so it did, you know.
It did better in China than it did here.
And I imagine that, you know, because so much of this movie is based in like video game narrative and video game referencing, those are global phenomena.
Right.
You know, I mean, like Warcraft was a way bigger movie in China than it was here. So I think, you know, even if audiences might not get the Fast Times at Ridgemont High references, they will get the, you know,
Final Fantasy,
exactly,
the
more video games centric stuff. I want to take credit. I'm terrible at box office prognostication, but I actually got something right recently where I said that the continued success of I Can Only Imagine was going to cut into the opening weekend of God's Not Dead, A Light in Darkness, and it did.
Have you seen both at this
I have
point?
seen neither, actually.
You're ordinarily an aficionado for the pure flicks.
Not so much. That's really more my husband because he grew up in the evangelical church, so he knows all the dog whistles and he's fascinated with how they sort of, you know, get their message out. But yeah, the third God's Not Dead movie did not even open in the top 10, and that's been a brand in the faith-based world. But I Can Only Imagine, as a phenom, has eaten up its audience.
It's that darn song. It's catchy. But also, they were competing with what at least Alonso and I watched last night, which is the live production of Jesus Christ Superstar.
You guys totally buried the lead because everybody went berserk over Jesus Christ Superstar. I didn't even realize that it was happening last night. I would have.
Were you not on Twitter at all?
I was going to say, how did you miss this?
I would have actively turned it off rather than just by neglect.
No, I'll tell you what, it was so good. And it's like in that line of all these live musicals they've done Hairspray and they've done Grease and Peter Pan and Sound of Music. This was by far the absolute best one from a casting perspective, performances, production, the camera work, the direction. I think why this worked really, really well was that they set it all on a soundstage. And the other ones that have tried to bring these live musicals to the television have been, you know, there's dialogue and they are going between different sets and locations. And this is all like in a giant soundstage, like an armory in Brooklyn.
Yeah, they called it in concert, which you would imagine more like people standing behind, you know, little podiums or whatever. To me, it looked like what a production of this show would look like if you were to attend it, you know, and actually see it.
It is all singing.
Right, I mean, if you were seeing it on a stage as opposed to like on a backlot the way they did, you know, Grease and Hairspray. I agree with you that on the curve of the recent spate of live made-for-TV musicals, this is the best one. I have some issues with it, just in terms of, I think there were some choices as far as like the number of extras or you know, just down to the tempo of the music and the phrasing of the lyrics. You know, Dave always has this joke about how, you know, the rock musical was eventually sort of subsumed by the musical. And so you have people who are doing like, that Green Day, American Idiot show, or even like later, even Rent, or later iterations of things like Jesus Christ Superstar from back in the day, where they are enunciating every lyric and you can hear them all in the back, and that is good, except it is not rock and roll.
Right, well, like Norm Lewis, who has incredible pipes, right?
Yeah.
He was the first black actor to do Phantom, to play star in Phantom. He is kind of doing that. He was Javert in a production of Les Mis, and so he is doing that enunciating thing, like, and he's an amazing voice, but it is sort of out of place with everything else. Having said that, every time he opened his mouth, good Lord, it was like riveting. He's amazing.
And there were a few times where like some of the Pharisees had to hit those really low notes and you couldn't hear them. And I don't know if they were making them and they just didn't register in the mics, or they didn't nail them, but I was like, oh, there's a missing word here.
I think they had a live audience there for a couple of reasons. A, for the energy, and B, to create the sense of like people are frenzied about Jesus in this setting, and so to have that energy was germane to this piece of material. But yeah, you're right, you sometimes couldn't hear them. Yeah. John Legend was great as Jesus.
He was.
Sarah Bareilles is amazing.
Sarah Bareilles was amazing as Mary Magdalene. No, there's a lot I liked about it. I think it was very effective, and absolutely compared to all the other ones that I've seen, Christmas Story Live, this was definitely a top drawer for what we've seen. So I hope that people learn from what worked in this one and apply that to the I'm sure the many that are in the pipeline.
I'm kind of sad I missed this, because this is actually the only Andrew Lloyd Webber musical I actually like.
Well, it'll probably be on.
Hate the rest.
You could probably find it. And it's funny because it played on the East Coast first, and so like slowly as evening wore on, my Twitter feed became increasingly like all Jesus Christ Superstar all the time. And even Chris, also an atheist, was like, we gotta watch this Jesus Christ Superstar. Not a musical theater guy, my husband.
Wow.
And so we watched it, and I was into it, and it was moving, and I was wowed. The crucifixion, wow.
But but the movie I think is still.
Yeah.
The movie's great. Yeah, the movie's great. I saw a production of that when I was very young, but that's the only. The rest of Andrew Lloyd Webber stuff I just can't stand.
No, I'm with you. Although I didn't see School of Rock, which I've heard some people say nice things about. I haven't.
I like
that one I don't know.
Maybe they'll do a Vita next, the same cast. I
have to say, my Easter disappointment was that TCM did not air Godspell.
Oh.
That's usually a thing they'll trot out on Easter, and they didn't do it this year.
I wonder if they felt like, well, we've got live Jesus Christ. So
maybe.
Compete.
Although it's also not in their library. I think it's a movie they have to separately book, so maybe they just didn't do it this year.
Have we gotten the live Rocky Horror yet?
Yes.
We did.
Not good.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the one with Laverne Cox as Frankenfurter.
Oh, right, yeah.
Interesting idea, didn't really,
Yeah. What about the cop rock revival?
Any day now.
Any day now, right?
Stephen Bochco died, by the way.
Yeah, that was very sad. Stephen Bochco died this weekend. Legendary producer, very iconic. Produced Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue. Like really helped kind of give us what modern TV drama as far as cop shows is concerned.
And to loop it back to Ready Player One, I got this from my friend Robert Abele. He wrote the Columbo episode that Spielberg directed.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Weird. Yeah, but a lot of the TV we consume, when it is like meaty serial drama, he definitely
changed a lot of it
for that.